So a few years ago, I went ahead and made a tier list ranking all the best weight room exercises, or most commonly used weight room exercises. It's now 2024 and I've had a little bit of a change of heart. Now previously, when I did this list, I used 4 criteria. That'll change a little bit. The criteria I used in my previous list was the learning curve, overload potential, injury risk, and the carryover. But now we are going on with slight modifications. I think that injury risk and something like the learning curve are not as important, because if you are doing a complete program, you're gonna have to make adjustments. And sometimes you need to just learn the exercise if it's gonna benefit you over the course of the long term. I think but I think the last ranking was a little bit more short-term thinking, and that's why I kind of ranked things the way I did. A couple of things to note here. The first is that on my previous list, I was ranking the exercises as if they were the only exercise you could use. This year, it's just not realistic to do that. The best way to do it is, if you had a complete program, is there room for this exercise in your program? Does it make sense to implement it into your program? So we're using that criteria. It sounds like a small switch, but it's really big. Now I have to give the disclaimer that there are some biases in this. Like, this is my personal experience. This is my personal channel. So these are my personal thoughts. And some people may disagree with the list I come up with, but I don't care, because I don't care. So yeah, let's get to it. First, we're gonna go ahead and start with the Bulgarian split squat. I believe prior I've had it at S tier, but this year we're dropping it down to the A tier, just because I think you can get this work elsewhere. The glute work, the quad work, you can get it elsewhere. It's still a great exercise. I'll leave it at the top of the A. You could make a case for it being at the bottom of the S tier. You wouldn't want to do this with dumbbells. It would be with the Smith machine, just because you can overload it a lot better. If you can't use a Smith machine, it won't be an S tier. It probably won't even be an A tier. Your ability to overload it is super important. It hits the posterior chain. You can adjust it to hit, more of the anterior, but great exercise still. Calf raises. I believe I had this at C or B, but honestly, because there is nothing else that you can do, this is both seated and standing, because there's nothing else you can do to really target the calves, I cannot put it below an A tier. When you put it in a program, actually, I'm gonna be honest, over the duration of a program, I'm gonna put it in an S tier, meaning that you must have it, because you have to get that direct calf work somehow. You can't skip out on the calves. I'll explain to you why in a future video, what exactly happened to me when I was skipping calves. And it almost pretty much ended my career early. Let's go randomly. Leg extensions. In a program, I'm gonna go with the C for now. I might adjust that. But for now, leg extensions, you're gonna hit your quads in so many different ways with all these exercises. This has no correlation, no carryover to jumping specifically. So if you really want to get stronger quads, I think there's more efficient ways to do it, but it is important to grow a bigger size muscle, a larger muscle, which will contribute to the strength gain. So for that reason, we're gonna keep it at C tier for now. Trap bar deadlift, I've had you at S tier. This year, we will have you at S tier again, because still a great exercise and it's super easy. Anyone can do it. Like, once you're a certain age to lift weights, you can do it. It's not a hard exercise to learn. It has a great movement pattern. It's like a squat and a deadlift combined. So, and your ability to overload it is insane. Box squat, I believe I've had you at S tier from personal experience. This year, honestly, I'm dropping you down to an A tier. And this is going to be because your ability to lower and control force, weight, whatever it is just as important, actually maybe even more important, to the concentric phase. And with a box squat, I often find myself, I could come crashing down into a box and just sit there and then just drive. If that box wasn't there, I may have dropped down and hit the floor. So for that reason, it gives you the ability to sort of hide some of your weaknesses, and I just don't think that it's an S tier performer anymore. This is an Olympic lift. It could be a hang clean. I think it's a hang clean, hang pull. I don't even know the names of all of them, but I put them all in one, to be honest with you. Previously, I don't know where I had it, maybe in A tier. I said there was a huge learning curve, but with the changing criteria, it has to be in S tier just because there's people of all ages like doing this. And the learning curve is not so bad where you shouldn't have this. I think this is pretty much at this point in time been discovered to be a must-have in all training in terms of vertical jump, sprint training. Its carryover is just insane. And if you only had one exercise or one sort of style of training, I'll say, because it's not even a specific exercise, you can make the case that this is your one go-to Olympic lifting. The front squat could be an A tier or an S tier. I think I'm going to go ahead and put it in the S tier. You can overload the quads like crazy, just like the leg extension. Why would you do a leg extension when you can do a front squat? Has more carryover, overloaded better, more muscle groups involved, a way better exercise, better correlation to vertical jump versus a leg extension. So I don't really see the point. So for that reason, this is a great exercise if you want to hit your quads more, if you had weaker quads. And all this is relative to, you know, your personal anatomy, like everyone's different. So for some people, some of these exercises may actually drop down a tier, go up a tier, but you gotta identify your own weaknesses and address them with these exercises. Lying leg curls. These are good for building muscle. In a program, how important are they? I'm going to put them at a C. Honestly, I will put them for now at a D. I don't think you need them at all in a program. And the reason why is because we have better options such as, wait, is this the complete list? So I've made some adjustments here. I realized I didn't have the full updated list. So there's an additional, I think 5 exercises or something like that. As I was saying, lying leg curls. The reason why I have it in D is because there is a better option on this list, which will be the Nordic curls. And the Nordic curls will be in the B. I will put this as our first B tier, which means, you know, it could arguably be A, but it is a very, very difficult exercise. I don't think it's necessary in everyone's program, but I do think it is a great indicator of hamstring strength, and you should always try to work to have a certain goal with this movement. And let's go into hip thrust. Hip thrust might surprise you, honestly, but hip thrust is going to be in the S tier. Direct glute work, overloaded like crazy, and it actually carries over very well to, well, both single and double leg jumpers, but more specifically single leg jumpers. Now, I did hear Isaiah Rivera once say when he was doing a single leg hip thrust, it felt exactly like his penultimate step. If that is the case, if that is the exact sensation for him, I haven't tried a single leg hip thrust, so I can't really speak on that. If that is the sensation, this might have to be somewhere over here, honestly. But for now, we will keep it, we'll keep it like over here. Let's move this here, move that there. Yeah. Hack squats. Hack squats in a program, you can put this in D. I see people in high school do this. Like, you're probably wondering, why is this on the list? I see people in high school, I see people younger, like, doing exercises, and I always hear them mention, like, you know, and gets your bounce up and this. Like, people just do whatever, I'm gonna be honest with you. So, in terms of putting this in a complete program, just don't do it. It doesn't make sense. Good mornings, more of the same. You know, I get the concept, I get the idea. It seems like it's very similar to an RDL. But you also need to remember where you carry the weight has a very different effect on your body. So having the weight on your shoulders versus having the weight in your hands versus on your back, like, they're all 3 completely different things. So good mornings will actually be a D tier exercise. Don't even bother adding them to your program. So these are like high pulls. High pulls, I will go ahead and put, it could arguably be in the S tier, but I'm going to put it in the A tier. You get great extension. So for that reason, I'll just put it in the A tier. For now, it arguably could go in the S tier. I'm not gonna lie, but personally, I'll put it in the A tier. Deep squatting. Now, I have 3 types of squats here. This is gonna be the quarter squat. This is gonna be the half squat. And this will be the full squat. Now, you can make a case for them being all in the same tier. You can make a case for them being in different tiers. I'm just gonna give my personal opinion from my experience. Deep squats, for me, because of my mobility issues, are going to be an A tier. Half squats are going to be an S tier. And quarter squats are going to be an A tier. Now, a lot of people say quarter squats is the joint angles are the most similar to vertical jump. This should be an S tier. Full range of motion, you get more muscle building, and maybe you should consider putting that in the S tier. But I'm just going off my experience, and this is the safest one for me, and it's a good middle ground, and I think a lot of people can do it. So I'm going with this in the S tier, the remainder in the A tier. You could take all 3 of them, put them in the S tier, but hey, to each their own. Kettlebell swings, a lot of people love these. I'm gonna be honest, for me, it's a B tier. Like, meaning there's better exercises, like you don't need it. You definitely, I don't feel like you need it in a program. Honestly, it could be a C tier, but I'm gonna leave it in the B tier for now. Single leg RDLs, I believe they're great. I'll go ahead and put them in the A tier. Deadlifts are great as well. There is a little bit of an injury risk, considering all the other things you have available to you. Only for that reason, I'll put it in the B tier. Now, if it was like the only exercise you had, its value would go up a lot. Actually, it would be in the higher A tier. But because you can build a program with all these different exercises, I just don't think you need it, to be honest. And it could sit in the B tier. Step ups, I like step ups a lot. I'll put it in the B tier. I believe that it does hit your glutes well. You can adjust it to hit your glutes or quads well, kind of like the Bulgarian split squat. But you need a Smith machine, and some Smith machines don't allow you to go. Actually, you don't need a Smith machine. You could actually just use a barbell. So that's a case for it. We will move it to the top of B tier. Actually, we will make this, that, and this. Oh shit, that should be there, honestly, yeah, maybe. But we'll put that there. Jump squats. I will put this in the B tier, to be honest. Yeah. Leg extensions, honestly, for general strength, they're not that terrible. I'm not gonna put them in D. I think you can put them in the C because you can go unilateral or, bilateral. So I'm going to put them there. They're good for general strength. Some people use it at certain joint angles that can kind of very slightly help with vertical jump, because general strength will help with vertical jump, but just not when you're really isolating the muscle group like this. But this, I just don't like this. I don't know. Me personally, I don't like it. Walking lunges, I think they're good. Pretty good. It's going to go into the B tier. Yes, I will put walking lunges into the B tier. Prowler sled. I will go with the A tier. I haven't done them in a while. I probably need to get back to that, but it's really about the intent that you go behind with that prowler sled. Like, intent is very important when it comes to weight room exercises. If you don't have the appropriate intent and drive and intensity in all these exercises, you might as well toss them all to the D tier. But if you're exploding through your movement, like you're required to do, like you're forced to do in the prowler sled, you will get the results you're looking for. RDLs, I believe RDLs are good. I will put them in the B tier just because I think single leg is slightly better. But yeah, this is my general list for 2024. If you have any questions, any disagreements, go ahead and fight me in the comments. I'm ready. And yeah, hope you liked the video. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and I'm out.